A new piece of research has been published by Yijing Lu from the University of Southern California. And today I had a quick chat to her about the study, what she did, why it's important, and what we can learn about stuttering from this study. Well, to start with, I'll say thank you for agreeing to chat with me about this study. Um, I guess the first question is, why did you do this study? What was the motivation behind wanting to do this study?
Okay, first I would like to summarize what we did in this study using just one sentence. So in this study, we looked at what's going on inside the vocal tract during stuttering. So I wanted to do this study mainly for two reasons. First of all, I believe it is important to look at articulatory characteristics of stuttering. So by observing what aspects of the speech movement was disrupted and what is not, we can better understand what could cause stuttering or what is the main issue of stuttering. The second reason is that there are not many studies that have looked at articulatory behaviors during stuttering, and there are even fewer that have looked at multiple articulators and their coordination during stuttering. And I believe there are some practical difficulties for collecting such data. So first of all, such investigation requires the imaging or the articulator tracking tool to have a relatively high temporal and spatial resolution and can track multiple articulators at one time. And the technique that is used in this study, real-time MRI, can solve all these problems all at once.
What's the take home message from the study? Why is this study important?
So I would say there are two basic take-home messages. The first one, because in this data set, the speaker only stuttered on word initial consonants or syllable initial consonants. So what we found is that during the production of those consonants, the articulators were already at the right position to produce the consonant, but they constrict the vocal tract to a greater extent compared to the fluent production of consonants. And such extreme constriction was maintained throughout an entire episode of a stutter. So this suggests that the speaker was having an issue with releasing the extreme constriction made inside the vocal tract.
And just to clarify, what do you mean by extreme constriction in this case?
So it can be thought as like the articulator was or let me give an example. So say as we're producing consonants like M, our lips need to be closed, and for consonant like T, our tongue tip needs to be pushed against the hard palate. So in cases like that, the speaker was basically their articulators was sort of moving more forcefully, and this would result in more contact area between the articulators or more tissue compression between the articulators. So that's what I mean by extreme constriction.
Thanks.
So that's the first takeaway. And the second takeaway is that the stuttering didn't appear to be an issue of for this speaker to basically co-articulate a consonant vowel sequence. So what do I mean by co-articulation? So under typical conditions, while we're saying a CV syllable, for example, ma, as our lip are getting closed for the consonant M, at the same time, our tongue is getting ready for the upcoming phoneme, the vowel ah. So what we found is that when the consonant M was stuttered, the speaker's tongue was still doing the right movement and getting ready for the upcoming vowel. So so we didn't find that the speaker experiencing some sort of miscoordination between the consonant and vowel movements. And this is sort of different from what some theories have suggested what the stuttering is like. So, and those theories, of course, have suggested that the stuttering arises mainly because that the articulators are not quite ready for the upcoming vowels, so they kind of have to repeat the current consonant, and this is not what we found.
Mm-hmm. So what's next for your research? Do you need to follow up on any of these questions, or do you have a different direction to go in?
Definitely, because this study is a case study. So it involves one adult, a male adult who stutters. So the next step, first of all, is to collect more articulatory data from more people who stutters, or I'm planning to do adults who stutter first. So with more participants data collected, we can see if there are any if what we found in this case study are something consistent across speakers. And we can also study the individual variants in terms of like this articulatory behaviors during stuttering, because we all know that people who stutter, they sort of stutter in their own unique ways.
So the data with the vocal tract was collected as part of the InStep study, which is a trial that was run at the University of Oxford with myself, Dr. Jen Chesters, and Professor Kate Watkins. And we're really grateful to those participants who came in and helped us with that research. It was a huge project with loads of different parts. And we're especially grateful in this case for this person who we've used the data from in this case study. So thank you to all the participants who took part.
Yes,
Great.
and thank you for like generously sharing the data with me, and and it allows me to do such analysis and this study.